US tariffs have wounded China.
Carnage, panic, bloodbath doesn't even begin to cut it.
Chinese markets deep in the red. Now Hong Kong stocks plunged the most in almost 3 decades.
In its first day of trading after the weekend, the Shanghai Composite fell more than 7 percentage points. That's, let's call it, somewhere in the ballpark of $500 billion in value, wiped out in one day. The Hang Seng, a measure of top stocks in the Hong Kong market, that was down more than 13%. That's another few $100 billion in value gone. And Donald Trump's not done. Because on top of a 10% tariff on Chinese goods imposed in February, plus another 10% in March, plus 34% announced last week, he's just threatened an additional 50%, which altogether effectively doubles the import cost of all Chinese goods to the US.
We're starting to get to the point where if all these are applied, you effectively create an embargo between the two countries where there's just going to be no trade.
Trump is punishing China for hitting back. In a trade war, the US has escalated. Yesterday, Trump says, China issued retaliatory tariffs of 34%. If China does not withdraw its 34% increase, the United States will impose additional tariffs on China of 50% effective April 9th. But China has found a way to hit the US back hard. And not just with tariffs, but by attacking its supply chain directly.
They just threw down the gauntlet.
It's now a game of chicken. It's who's going to blink first.
China is messaging this quite clearly. They are in it until the end.
China has, until now, attempted to exercise restraint. Months ago, when Trump first imposed that sweeping 10% tariff on Chinese goods coming into the US, China did retaliate, but with smaller sector-specific tariffs, mainly targeting US energy. Coal, LNG, that sort of thing. Then, when the US stacked another 10% tariff on China, once again, we saw a measured response, this time against US agriculture, targeting very specific things like chicken and beef. But responding to Trump's additional 34% tariff announced last week.
So we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset?
Well, they're upset. Retaliating with an equivalent 34% tariff on American goods. This is China hitting back harder than before.
The Chinese believe the US has just gone to a whole nother level, basically gutting the rules-based order entirely and replacing it with reciprocal tariffs negotiated line by line, country by country. And that's a world in which